Welcome back. Today we are in the middle of our series of customized frameworks for phenomenal results. I'm giving you an behind the scenes example of how we customize processes for our clients to deliver results faster than they thought was possible. And this example we're going to use today is a physician scientist who was up for her R01 grant funding. And I'll tell you the process I gave her will guarantee grant funding, but also will guarantee your promotion, a six-figure raise. So think about for a moment, what is the thing you want? Here's a process to get it. Whether that thing is something with your growing your solo practice, house, baby, all of it. So I'll walk you through the example I gave to her of a physician applying for grant funding. Step one, if you're feeling super overwhelmed, I don't know how to get this started. The first step we did was step one was we planned and we add the critical steps. I teach a process of minimum baseline. So where your brain says you need to, seriously, my brain has told me I need to go to France and learn French for something, or I need to go code to learn. No. Minimum baseline for this grant. What is it that I need to get done? And then put it on your calendar. It will help calm the overwhelm and be like, oh, no. This week, all I'm focusing on is the budget piece. Or this week, I'm just focusing on AIM 1, for example. You're going to want to put it on your calendar and identify where are these essential items do I need? Where are the gaps so I can ask for support? So maybe you're not an expert in immunotherapy, but you can recruit someone on. Maybe what I want to what I want to say about this piece is this is the benefit of working with a coach is that I can focus your brain okay, on the minimum baseline and put it on your calendar. On your own, your brain's going to go, no, I don't want to. You absolutely want to because this is what gives you your result. So you have a plan, you have it on your calendar, and you have the support, the gaps, and then we find how are we going to fill those gaps by recruiting other PIs in, by asking our boss to pay for a coaching program so we can improve our communication. We figure out the gaps and we make a plan for the support. So that's step one is the plans, the dates, the gaps. Just outlining all of it will help calm some of the overwhelm. Now, what's very easy about this brilliant scientist who has decades of experience with R01 funded grants is that where she was getting stuck is she did not plan for freakout days, which none of us will. Our brain likes to think that we are going to have this streamlined process for our grant, our promotion, our raise, babies, house, and that we'll never have a hiccup and that we'll never have a conflicting idea or that publications won't come out conflicting our data or that our chair won't retire. Like, right? Our brain always imagines everything's going to be perfect. We'll never hit a red light on the way to pick up our kid. We're running 10 minutes late, right? Our brain likes to think everything is streamlined. But here's what I customize in her framework is to plan for the freakout days. We need to build it in. So if we're telling ourselves we're not going to work on a grant for 1 month, of course, this is not how it works, but we're not going to start working on it until 1 month before it's due. There's no plan for freakout days. So as we put our plan together and we put it on the calendar, we put in blocks of time for what she likes to call the freakout days. Now, in coaching, I could sense that calling it a freak out day was getting her freaked out. So we decided to call it something different because here's my philosophy. Language is powerful. If you call it a freak out day, it's probably going to activate your nervous system. And when you're very, very nervous, it's going to be hard to get things done. So instead, we kind of looked around what is actually happening on these days. On these days, there is a piece of science that's not making sense, or there is a part of the funding process that's not lining up. The admin is not in that day. There is a new paper that conflicts with this data. And as we work through it with this idea all problems are solvable. As we work through it, the whole grant gets better. It's much more likely to get funded. We take that data we saw and we work around it. We take the admin who's out and we work around that too. Everything gets stronger. You're more likely to get funded because of these days. Why are we calling it freakout days again? So we relabeled the days as discovery days. These are the days where she gets to be a scientist, where she gets to see the raw data that no one else in the whole entire world has seen, and she gets to make it so much better. I asked her, why did you go into, you could have done a million other easier jobs. Why physician scientist in a time where grant funding is really hard? She's like, I like to come up with new ideas. I like to be the first person in the whole world to ever think of this. I love to solve big problems. I love to that I'm part of the cure for ovarian cancer. She has really, really powerful whys. She's really, really powerful, like discovery impulses. So I said, then why are we calling this a freak out day? This is your time to discover, to think, to have ideas no one has ever had before. This is your science. This is the best part. This is the thing that makes your grant so much more funded. Why are we calling it freak out days? So she decided to call them discovery days, which just sent this vibration of excitement and fireworks through her body. And we started planning for them. We put them on the calendar so that when they happened and she had to take a day to come up with a new aim, it wasn't putting her behind. This was already accounted for. This is the fun part. This is where she gets to discover and be a scientist. Sometimes we do need to break things down to build them back up. So, and I'll just like, as we're here on step two, I'll tell you, I recently had a big work deadline. And I was so like my nervous system felt so frayed. I felt so anxious. And I realized, oh, this is interesting. I planned to have this big work deadline while also we're having the roof repaired. So there's 20 million people on my roof hammering. And thank goodness that we had the money to do this because the roof did get severe hail damage. But still, it was a lot for my nervous system. And I had doctor's appointments and I had a hair appointment. And I had all these appointments in addition to this huge work deadline. And I realized, oh, my brain does it too all the time. My brain just assumes there's not going to be any freak out days, that everything's going to be perfect, that there's not going to be a severe hailstorm in Colorado that makes our roof a total loss, that I'm never going to need my hair done again, right? I'm never going to need a doctor's appointment. My brain just thinks like this. So sometimes we need to break things down so we can build them up in such a better way. So our scientist has freak out days. I have decided that moving forward, I'm not planning my hair appointments the week I have a big work deadline or doctor's appointments. Listen, we needed a new roof, but it didn't need to happen that day. It really could have happened a week later. So I'm going to be much more intentional in planning. On your own, it's very hard to do. Having a coach will help you. So you don't have to on your own put all this together. I did this with and for her. She just came to me with her concerns and we just put this together. So step one is have your plan, schedule it, identify gaps and a plan for that. Step two is include freak out discovery days in your plan. You need downtime in the the run up to your promotion, your grant, whatever you're submitting. You need planned downtime. That downtime is there to guarantee your success. We want to create that time. Step three is you have to plan recovery time. This physician scientist was like going from grant to grant to grant to grant. My brain will do the very same thing, work deadline to work deadline to work deadline. This one promotion to that meeting, to the next paper, to the next hospital meeting. There's no downtime. This is not sustainable. So what we did with her is we planned recovery time. What that looked like for her is after she submits a grant, which by the way, she is ahead of schedule based on this 3-step framework. She has a 10-day trip to Europe with her sweetheart, and her daughter's going to meet her there. You have to have planned recovery time. We need to have time for our brain to unwind, to rest, to show our brain. Actually, I would call it recovery time, if you will, but it's also to celebrate. It's be in the celebration of I did this really big, hard thing. I did it really well. I need to celebrate. What we celebrate integrates. What we show our brain, this is the reward, this big trip. Our brain's like, oh, okay, I'm ready to write more grants for you when you come back. The recovery time is a piece every physician forgets. And it is the secret to your success beyond your wildest dreams that requires a fraction of your work. You need recovery time. And I include, so my physicians who, for example, they take call a week or a month at a time. Listen, folks, that's your R01 grant. That's the cognitive load it takes to be up for 30 days in a row is the same. 30 days in a row is the same as applying for an R01 funded grant. So we want a plan. So my physician who takes 30 days of call in a row, at the end of that, we have a week in the Caribbean. We show our brain, yeah, this is really hard. And guess what? We're going to also rest really hard. Like we're going to have fantastic rest recovery. We're going to celebrate, and that's going to allow you to recover. And it's also going to allow you to show up to work the next week and be an exceptional doctor. We have to have time for recovery, rest, celebration. I I just happenstance, this happened to me. I'll say on your own, it's really hard to do this. This is why you need a coach. But I had gone through this big work deadline, and then I planned a trip to Portland, and then I planned a trip to give talks. So it was just nonstop. And I was just about ready to pack for Portland. I was like, I just can't. Physically cannot do this. And so the 5 days I was going to be in Portland at this meeting, I just took back for me. One of those days, I watched TV for 12 hours. It was amazing. Another day, I went to the gym. I met with my coach. I got acupuncture. I got a massage. Another day, I did some catch up work. Another day, I went for hikes. The idea being is that we have to be planning for recovery time. And I also, it's hard for me to do. My brain will forget. So working with a coach is essential. So what it will look like is you're going to have your R01 grant. You're going to be on 30 days in a row. You're going to put through your promotion. And then the week after, or however long you decide, maybe it's 3 days, maybe it's 3 weeks. You're going to plan for recovery time. My friends who go on call and they have very severe call, we have a plan. We have a plan. We're going to take a PTO day to be at the spa. If you know you're going to have 3 days intense reviewing NIH grants, then we're going to plan 3 days to go to the art museums in Bethesda. You have a plan, you have a divorce hearing coming up that you know is going to take a very intense day of depositions. We're going to plan maybe 3 days of rest afterwards. So, where can we build in more recovery time? Where can we build more celebration? Where can we just leave your calendar completely empty? I am for now, I am experimenting with you. This was so good. This 5 day retreat that didn't happen. I call it my 5 day Christina Arnold retreat in my home, which was amazing. I was like, you know what? I need this more often. So now I'm planning 1 week off a month, 1 week a month. Absolutely nothing on my calendar. I actually got this from one of my clients who she came to me like, I love vacation. I love retire. The idea of retirement sounds beautiful. And so she vacations now 1 to 2 weeks a month. She's still practicing, but she takes 1 to 2 weeks off a month. And I was like, you know what? That's an amazing idea. So I stole it from her and it's amazing. So here's your guaranteed path to millions, whether your millions is in your promotion, in your solo practice, and your R01 grants is one, plan, put it on your calendar, identify the gaps and fill in those gaps. Two, build in time for freak out discovery days. This is the magic that actually will make sure you get to your millions. We want to call these days in. We want to create space for these days. These days aren't junk days. They're not going to get you behind. They're the secret to getting your millions. We need to plan that. And step three is to plan and schedule recovery, celebration, downtime. However much effort you put into the thing you just did, promotion, grant, what building the house, having the baby, whatever that time is on the front side, we need to have at least that time on the outside, if not double or triple. If you have one really hard call day, let's make sure there's 1, 2, or 3 recovery days. If you're not sure how to do this, you need to be in my program because we do this all the time in a very customized way, just like you saw this customized path for R01 grant, a guaranteed grant for the scientists. Join the email list today. Go to yourpathandfocus.com/email. You'll be the first to hear of these customized frameworks. The podcast will be delivered directly to your inbox. We're also doing these on YouTube, so the video delivered directly to your inbox. We have a Black Friday deal that people wait around all year long. I have gotten probably no fewer than 20 requests. What's Black Friday like this year? You wait all year long, and if you're on the email list, you will hear about it before anyone else. If you're on the email list, you'll also be the first to know when the doors to next level freedom open. Go to right now to yourpathandfocus.com/email. See you there.